hearing from the crowds that you're tough as woodpecker.
He's apologising for kicking a drop goal.
Jorgensen, Max Jorgensen, no, he didn't. Oh my goodness me! Ross there, Ross! He's got the record. Tom Wright, just too good. This is ecstasy for Wallabies fans.
Matt Grealy, great to have you on the Scrumbags Rugby podcast, mate. Let me just give a quick overview for the last year. It took you about 30-odd games to score a try, yet you've been bagging them pretty happily at the Force plus an Aussie A game. Would you say the move's gone all right?
Yeah, mate. Certainly has. I've certainly enjoyed it. It was a while there to score a try. I thought there was something wrong with me, to be honest. But yeah, I guess we're glad to get the monkey off the back straight away here at the Force. I didn't want another season of being dry. So yeah, no more nudie runs, thankfully, and hopefully no more this year.
It's a good start, mate. The experience for the back end of that year just looked crazy for you because you end up locking down that 15 jersey pretty well and you get to go on Oz A. Like, tell me a bit about that international experience before we talk specific Force for 26, because Aussie A looked like an awesome experience.
No, it was good fun. It was good to sort of get recognised, I guess. I guess everyone always appreciates a bit of that. And, to be able to play that game, just different country, like I said, different group of blokes. It's just really enjoyable. I think that time of year, end of the year, you feel like you're in pretty good form. So, I was really glad to be recognised at that. And, we had quite a good day out that day. So, was able to be on the end of some nice bits of play at times. So, it was just enjoyed it. Enjoyed the sort of year I had and the growth that I felt personally. So, looking to continue building that into 2026.
No, it's been big, and we've seen since we took off the top, fullbacks kind of where you've made your home. Is that where you see yourself long term? Is that where you want to be in this full setup?
Yeah, 100%. Fullback was always a position I played growing up. That year at Reds was sort of the first year I played at wing, so I'm grateful that added another string to my bow, I guess, and was able to get me sort of established at Super Rugby. And then, when the opportunity came with the Force, it was more centred around me wanting to test myself in that 15 role. There's an opportunity here, and I guess that's what I wanted to pursue and really see if I could be a 15 at this level. And as I said, the opportunity was there, and I was glad that Chrono and the team had a bit of belief in me, and I was able to sort of repay that as the season went on.
But it's fair to right, and fullback's such an interesting one, sort of sitting on the couch, with all the extra puppy fat that us fans have. But fullbacks seem to come in all shapes and sizes. Like, there's tall blokes like your Freddie Stewarts or your Will Jordans. Some are second fives almost, and they act as a second playmaker. Well, what's your kind of style? Because you're a bit more compact and mobile. So do you have someone that you model your game off, or a style that you want to play from the back?
For me personally, there's not been anyone I guess I've really modelled off. Particularly, there's certain guys that I like to look at. Across a guy that I've always liked is Cheslin Colby, because he's a bit of similar stature.
He's all right at footy,
I don't have the feet like him, but I suppose guys like that, you see that the way that I suppose at my size I've really learned that you've got to be technically really good at a lot of things. So that's not only your high balls or your work around. It's the work in the ruck you got to do, because at my size, I can't just flop in there and move bodies. I've got to be technically sound. So I guess those are the challenges, but also has its advantages. Personally, I like to use my feet a lot to create mini gaps. And I suppose when you're a bit smaller, you can find those. And for me, my style of play, I like to be aggressive. I feel like I'm at my best when I'm really attacking the game. As I grow sort of through this year, really want to take the pressure off Dono, step up more in that first receiver role, because I think the way we want to play is obviously interchange roles as much as we can throughout the whole back line, not only through 10, 15, but 12s, 13s, everyone sort of sharing the load. That's probably for me how I want to take it. But how I like to see myself is just getting involved as many times as I can per game. Get a high amount of carries, because I feel like, I can use that in certain areas to generate quick ball or to take on people and hopefully, create line breaks or support line breaks. So, yeah, a bit in it, but I think year on year is just certain things I want to keep growing at and add into my game.
You mentioned that you've always played fullback. Were you just playing like union as a junior, or did you have a touch footy background? Because like laterally you move really well. Is that just from playing code?
Yeah, I did play a lot of touch footy growing up. I suppose when you're a bit smaller, that was sort of how I'd make a few teams. So yeah, I was a rugby union through and through since I was 5 years old. Two older brothers, so always mucked around the backyard with them. And then yeah, played touch in the off season, which I think is really good for probably skill development. And I really enjoyed playing touch, played a lot growing up, and then sort of when I hit the teenage years, I started playing a bit of rugby league as well, and then cricket, basketball, whatever I sort of could. But yeah, always played rugby, always played fullback in that sort of since we had positions. That's always where I wanted to be. So yeah, really enjoyed being able to have a crack at that last year, and hopefully it can continue to grow at Super Rugby level because yeah, there's obviously you need to be sort of sound in a lot of areas of your game. So yeah, continue working on it.
You got a stacked field there too. Like you got KB obviously, but other blokes can play in and around fullback. Like Dono and Maxi Burey can both switch in and out of there. I guess, like you mentioned, a lot of players that can play multiple positions. How competitive has that been? Because I look at this forward squad for this year, and it's probably the most stacked I've seen it since like the heyday of like the 07, 08, Gitz, Drew, Sharpie. Like this is a good squad you got going there.
Yeah, it's been really good. I think just even having a guy like KB personally has been great. Like we work well together, sort of feed off each other, particularly through trainings and that. And yeah, there's a lot of guys who can move into positions, and I'm sure there'll be times this year where we will change that around, or depending on circumstances of games and whatnot. And I know I can fill a wing role if we need to. So yeah, personally, I think it's just great to have that ability to have competition in the squad. I think it makes us all better. And you certainly can't rest on your laurels. So, yeah, been really enjoying what guys have added, and I think it's just good to be in that position as a squad because, as you've seen the last couple of years, like our depth has been tested here at the Force, particularly later on. So I think it's important that we all just keep each other ready, keep each other honest, I guess, and I think it's only better for us.
It seems like a tight-knit community because we know so many come from interstate or abroad that you make your home over at the Force. As someone who's done that recently, what's that off-field culture like? It seems like everyone's fairly tight away from the training paddock too.
Yeah, 100%. Certainly different to being back at East. Like obviously when I was in Brisbane, you've got family, you've got friends that you hang out with. But I suppose here at the Force, being in WA, everyone, as you said, is from East. So a lot of that time then on weekends or your social events you're spending with each other. So certainly that tight knit of that's the guys you hang around with sort of off the field as well most of the time. So yeah, it's been different, but it's real good. Like even just little things. A lot of us seem to live in the same suburb, so there'll be oftentimes just down at the cafe or going for a swim, and there'll be 6 or 7 other blokes there. So yeah, it's been great. A really tight group. Which has been really enjoyable to be a part of, and a lot of good fun, to be honest. So I think the tighter we stay, the better it is for us on the field. So yeah, it's just been really enjoying. Was lucky enough to fit in as best I can here. A lot of good blokes. So yeah, mate, it's been great.
Is it golden triangle stuff, or do you branch out a bit?
Yeah, well, I've got my roommates. I live with Henry Robertson, Max Fury, and Taj Annan. So yeah, usually a couple of households will band together sometimes. A couple of different dinners. So yeah, we're usually pretty tight. Usually got your same groups within groups, and then the thing here is like when we have socials, like I suppose a lot more boys will rock up because we really try and make that effort of catching up, whether it's just going to bowls on a Friday arvo or something like that. So no, it's enjoyable. I think everyone's pretty comfortable around each other here that we can talk to whoever you want, which is probably creates a really good training environment and allows you to sort of be yourself, which for me sometimes probably not a good thing, but it has been. Has been good fun.
Are there any like particular pests in that group? You're sort of in and around each other so much. We know Tiz is a known quantity, but like around the four squad, are there blokes that you're just spending so much time with? They're like, I'm off him already. Like, who do you not want to be
Uh,
rooming with or sitting next to on the plane?
yeah, pretty much as soon as I've seen Nick Dolly, I feel that way. Um, yeah, you can just tell by looking at him. Nah, I suppose it does. Like sometimes you can spend too much time, but yeah, there's always a lot of good chat that goes around. But yeah, Nick Dolly, he's pretty persistent. If he has a joke, he'll just keep hounding it. Um, so yeah, there's a few blokes like that. A lot of blokes will probably say I'm a bit of a pest, but I don't reckon it's true.
Protest.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I guess it does happen. But no, apart from that, there's just a lot of good crack that goes around. So it's been enjoyable.
No, it looks like a good bunch. Now, I won't keep you for too much longer. You're being generous with your time, but tell to me a bit about the runway into 27. So home World Cup. I think everyone who's playing Super Rugby wants to be involved in some capacity. Everyone's playing to get a gold jersey somewhere down the line. What kind of ambition do you have to be around that setup? And how sick of you seeing all these league blokes just signing in the past couple of weeks, going, "Fuck me, like we cannot get a break here."
Yeah, mate. I think anyone would be lying if they told you they didn't want to be there. That's been my lifelong dream since I was a kid. So yeah, I understand that there's yeah, a lot of competition, which I think is a good thing, especially in outside backs. So I think the best thing you can do is just keep putting your own best foot forward and control what you can control. I suppose yeah, a lot of good signings recently, which I think will only add to the competition within teams and within rugby as a whole. So I think it's also generated good interest. But yeah, personally, like that's a big ambition of mine and something I want to keep working towards. And I think at the end of the day, if you put everything you can towards it and don't get it, I think you can sleep better at night. So something I want to keep striving towards and making sure that, I'm doing everything I can. If it doesn't work out, then yeah, something I can sleep well at night. And if it does, I'll be stoked. So yeah, looking forward to just keeping enjoying playing, I guess. And I think when you're enjoying your footy, good things happen. So yeah, pretty exciting 18 months for I think rugby fans as a whole, and rugby players, I guess. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, massively, mate. Finally, you had a bunch of the RG boys come across. How's your Spanish rating up to their English, and how have they gone about it so far?
Yeah, mate, they've been good. I've been learning a few phrases, but they're probably all inappropriate. Just been seeing if I can sledge in the field with certain things. And I've been asking a few RGs of what I can say to the others, just to get a rise out of them. So, nah, they've been good. They fit in well. I think they're enjoying having more than like just having a little couple, like a group of them, so that they can hang out, which makes it easy for them, I guess. And then, yeah, they've actually been enjoyable. I think it's good having blokes with, other cultures and completely different around the group. So they've been a welcome addition. Some good footy players too, I'll tell you that. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Bit of a social. It's been good seeing them at socials and that, and just everything they do is a bit different. So no, I've been loving it. So hopefully they keep enjoying themselves and we're good to them.
That's awesome to hear, Mac. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Go well for the rest of 26.
No worries. Appreciate it, Lachie. You're a real one.
Kurtley, thanks again for jumping on, mate. A very quick one to start and very serious. How much stick are you giving Whitey for retiring before you, and how much are you copping as your skills coach?
Mate, not much. I've kind of feel for him because he had to go and get surgery on his knees to straighten him out a bit. He's probably grown about 2 inches from it. So quite happy for the big fella. But to be all fairness, like he's actually a great asset to the group and the coaching staff. To have him around, he's a wealth of experience and yeah, he's he's a great guy to have around the group, just to bounce things off and kind of help, especially the young halves, kind of help advise them and point them in the right direction. So every little bit of experience helps, especially when you're over here when you've got a young group. So yeah, it's great to have Whitey a part of the group.
Keep him around. I'm sure he's adding his voice to it as per usual. The force environment is something I'm really keen to tap into with you because you've had a wild couple of years since going across, a lot of injuries, some setbacks, but you've been back playing Super Oz. So what's your read on the force environment as a whole, and where does it stack up against some of the clubs you've played at around the world?
They're a young group with not much experience under their belt, but since I've been here, they've definitely had a few years where a lot of those guys are now kind of becoming, you know, the guys who have got that experience. And so I feel like those last couple of years have done them really well in terms of, you know, understanding the game, growing in confidence, and coming out of their shell, becoming, you know, a lot more, I guess, having a voice around the group as well. A lot of the young leaders kind of stepping up and kind of stepping into those roles. And I think overall, they've just got a really good work ethic. Wherever you are on and off the field, guys are kind of ripping into their recovery, heading down the beach, doing everything they can to get their bodies right. But then in training, I feel like this year is probably the most competitive I've seen. Boys are fighting for spots across the whole park. And I think that depth is going to help us in good stead for, going into the season. You know, so we've got depth across the park, and I think that's going to give us some kind of edge to be able to finish off games the way we should, whereas last year we didn't really have that cattle kind of to make a difference off the bench or to finish the games where we needed to finish, and feel like we've got that this year.
Well, that depth's sort of the perfect segue into where I want to go, because you ended up playing a lot of 12 through Super Rugby Oz and floating around in the centres. Where do you sort of see yourself on field, before we talk about the leadership stuff on field, but on field adding value? Do you want to lock down in the midfield, or do you see a role for yourself feeling sort of just where needed with this group? What's the take from you?
Yeah, I've been kind of combining really well with all the halves and the back three. I feel like I've got experience across all position. So that enables me to kind of pop up anywhere across the park and kind of take the load off the other blokes around me, and adding a lot of voice, a lot of eyes up footy, kind of relaying where the space is. And I think that can help a lot of the young guys inside me, especially. You know, I think Dono's got another year under his belt. He's kind of coming out and trying to avenge what happened this year, especially around the Wallaby stuff last year. Sorry. You know, and he's in good spirits. You know, Amy Stewart, again, another Wallaby kind of end of year tour, gaining experience in that. And I think that'll kind of help us, you know, stay steady in the midfields. Obviously, George Bridge, you know, another seasoned campaigner with a lot of experience coming from, you know, a Crusaders kind of environment, All Black kind of environment. So, yeah, I feel like we're in a really good space. And for me to kind of just pop in and out wherever I can to help the backline flow, whether that's kind of adding speed or on the edge of the backline or putting the ball into space, wherever that may be, I feel like I can add my best value.
I want to pick up on that point you made around Dono, because as a bloke who's also worn the 10 for the Wallabies, there was so much chopping and changing last year. How did you view the rotation of players at that level? And I guess you obviously playing with Dono, but do you have an eye on who was best suited through that year? Because there was just no consistency sort of sitting on the couch watching the telly. There's a different bloke in every week.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to watch, to be honest. You know, obviously being a bit biased and playing with Dono over the last couple of seasons, I feel like he didn't really get his fair crack. But, you know, I feel like he's got a great opportunity this year to be able to display consistency and direction for the team around the park. And I think, you know, he's looking forward to that challenge, I know. And I'm here to help him. So as we all are, I think we're all kind of feel like now that we've got a few years under our belts, there's a lot of combinations gelling quite nicely, and the cohesions kind of building where we need it to be. So I feel like that's going to be important going in, especially in the first two rounds with home games. We need to kind of make the most of that. And I feel like we're in a good position, especially after a really tough, grilling pre-season, where I feel like we're definitely fitter than we have been in the past couple of years, that's for sure.
What does pre-season look like at 37? Like, do you get to take it a bit easier? Is it managed like work-wise? Because like some of these blokes aren't as old as you've had pre-seasons. So like, what are we talking about here?
Mate, no, the boys look after me, no doubt. You know, I was coming off a plantar fascia injury after the Super Rolls competition. But I feel like that's where the respect goes into the high performance and the medical staff. They've got a really good gauge on individual programs and where players need to be. So they'll kind of push or pull you back wherever need to be able to get you right, to be able to train in the main sessions. So I feel like there's a really good balance there. And there's a lot of trust in between those conversations. So it's allowed me now feeling good, feeling fit and firing, ready to go for round one.
The competition was something we were chatting with Mac just before about how many talented blokes there are, particularly in the midfield and outside backs. Some of these young blokes like Boston, Ronan, Divard, we've seen him through under-20s, and they're gun too, but there's so much competition as well. Like, how fierce has that been through pre-season and seeing especially these hungry kids come through?
Yeah, like it's actually quite scary. Like, these guys have got, amazing skill, but also their physique, their speed, agility, and strength in the carry, in attack. They're quite robust, and so it's definitely keeping me on my feet. That's for sure. But it's healthy competition. These guys are, we're trying to create a culture where the environment, everyone can strive, regardless of if you're a rookie or you're a senior guy, and feel like that's allowing these young guys to kind of step out of their shell and shine. And Boston, I feel like he's got a huge future in the game, and no doubt, I think he's dropped a few kgs there as well. He's looking lighter, he's looking sharper, and it's definitely shown on the training paddock. I think Divard also coming back from a shoulder reco. Again, put a lot of time and effort into his rehab, and he's come out fitter and faster and stronger. So two danger guys, definitely, who can push their case for the starting 15, if not the bench. So I think we're really lucky to have that kind of having those guys pushing the starting squad and the guys in their position, and it's only going to make our team better. So we didn't really quite have that, and I feel like that can be a difference for us this year.
How do you balance your personal ambition to be, starting and still playing excellent rugby with wanting to bring these guys through? That seems like a hard thing to want to balance, because you want the best for the team, but also you're an athlete, you're a competitor.
Yeah, I feel like you got to have the attitude and mentality of team first, and I think that's been massive for us over here at the Force. Being a bit selfless in the way we approach things, but kind of away from that is to make sure that you are doing everything you can, all the 1%ers, getting your body right, getting your mind right, so when you do get the opportunity, you can give 110% for the team. And I think it's kind of, the guys are really responding to that. And it is challenging at times, but I feel like I've been around now for a while. I've seen how it can be done, and having guys around the squad like Whitey, you've got a few other guys around in the academy. You've got John O'Lance, Jeremy Thrush, guys that have done that and kind of have a bit of a finger on the squad as well. They kind of take the load, and you can kind of delegate roles as well, so you don't have to be doing it all the time. But I feel like if you kind of can, you can just rip in, make sure that whenever you get the opportunity, you're ready to go, and feel like whatever's going to help the team matters. So that's the attitude that we're kind of all going for.
One of the things that they talk about a lot in media, and we don't get a sense of whether it's true or not, is that touring is like a positive thing and bringing squads together. Like, you were sort of playing in the heyday of Super, where you get to go to South Africa. I know this year the Force now have a draw that's got big blocks where you're away for 2-3 weeks. Like, how good is that for the team environment as well?
Yeah, pretty special. Those are the times where you can kind of really bond and get to know each other. And I feel like in rugby, communication and connection is paramount in winning and losing, and bonding, playing golf, getting out in the off days, playing cards, going for a swim and having a coffee, wherever we are on tour, is only going to help build those connections. So when we do get out in those on the paddock, you can really see the cohesiveness. That's really important to making sure the plays are well drilled and executed. So, but it's a lot of fun. You're away. It's we got to make sure that we can we got to make sure we make the most of that. That's for sure.
I remember maybe 2 years ago we had a chat with Chrono and he mentioned a Tinder ban. Is that something that's still in place at the Force when they're on tour?
What's Tinder?
Like the dating apps and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think has Mac been talking about that?
No, he didn't mention it, but I can see he might be a serial pest.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's boys are having fun, I guess. I'm not quite sure. But I remember last year though, there was a big Jim Rummy kind of circuit where there was the loser had to kind of go for a punishment, and I think Darcy Swain was at the end of a few punishments where he's got to have to get a tattoo anywhere on his body. Which he still hasn't done yet. So if you do speak to him, maybe ask him about it. But that they get quite heated actually and gets quite serious. But yeah, good fun.
Well, I know why he's leaving now. He just doesn't want the tat. That's fine. The big fella. No, on Mac though, I don't want to gas him up too much because we had him on before, but he had a seriously good year at super level in 15. Yeah. And you're a bloke who's been at the back of the team as well from that position. Yeah. What do you like about his style as a fullback, and how have you seen him grow in the years that you've been at the Force?
Yeah, so the kid, he's got a great work ethic and a great work rate. So I feel like, he's a great runner of the ball. Obviously his speed is quite impressive. And I think where the growth area of his game is the ability to kind of pop up and second ball play like a Tommy Wright does for the Brums. I feel like he's the informed fullback in the world at the moment, and obviously with the injury, but still, Tommy at his best, you kind of try and base your game around that in terms of the way he pops in and ball plays, and that's something that I feel like Mac's done really well over this preseason. So yeah, like he's got so much potential. And I feel like really respect his work rate and work ethic. He's always putting in at the gym and on the pitch. He's just 100 mile an hour, everything he does. So I don't know if that's because of his ADHD or whatever it is, but the kid just never stops. And I think his willingness to learn is definitely something that will take him to the next level. That's for sure.
It's almost emblematic of this group. Like there's so much potential. It hasn't quite hit yet results-wise in the past few years for the Force, but there is so much upside. Like how ambitious are you for this group in particular? Because I look at the squad that the Force have put together for 2026 and it looks seriously stacked compared to last year's. You've had a depth across the board. You've got the big RG boys coming across, players like Bridgie who've won everywhere they go. Like what kind of ceiling do you set for yourself, or do we not sort of put it in wins and losses and it's more the style of play that you want to improve on?
Yeah, thanks, mate. That's nice to see that you're kind of observing and respecting us over here at the Force. We're very ambitious. Obviously it'd be nice to win a trophy. That's the ultimate goal, right? However, we definitely want to play a style that's respected. It's exciting. It's dangerous to play against, and basically, you want teams to kind of come off the field and say, yeah, Force, they're a solid outfit, and I think, as you say, we definitely got the caliber of player this year, no doubt. There's so many strengths across the park, and I think the biggest challenge also is just keeping everybody fit and ready to go. And I feel like we are in a good place for us to deliver that on that angle. Especially around our front rows, the depth's there. I guess across the park really, and that's going to definitely allow us to play more consistent rugby. If you're picking the same team each week, that's only going to build the combinations and the cohesion around the park. And when rugby becomes second nature and boys are starting to enjoy it, that's when we're quite dangerous. So, we'll be striving to be playing our best rugby, exciting rugby each week, and whatever comes at the back of that is a bonus.
Everyone's itching for the season to start. You've been really generous with your time, KB. Thanks again and go well in 26.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Nick Champion de Crespigny, thank you so much for jumping on, mate. You've gone from relative top 14 anonymity in Australia to captaining the country. Did you have a decent 2025?
Yeah, it's been a pretty good year, I'd say. Hopefully 2026 is even better, but no, 2025 was very memorable.
But in all seriousness, how do you wrap your head around that? Because you've come across and you've put in a hell of a shift with the Force, your debut against the Lions, and then you're being named skipper. Can you tell us about that moment when the Wallaby staff sort of got around you and said, hey, you're our guy in Tokyo? That must have been nuts.
Yeah, probably it was actually just like a little tap on the shoulder from Joe in a meeting, sort of, Crespigny will be captain this weekend. It was a pretty special moment between me and him, and we're both pretty straight up guys. We sort of just nodded at each other. Yeah, no worries. It sort of got on the day, but to have it announced to the group and your mates and your peers who have sort of put you forward to the leadership group and then really respected you in that role and be supported by them was probably a really special thing about it.
But who was the first person you called? Did you ring up home? Did you tell the boys around you? How did that go?
I think I called my dad pretty quickly and told him, and I think he was over the moon. I think similar to sort of what Joe and everyone else said. He just said, just keep being yourself. There's a reason they put you there, so no need to change anything. And then I was rooming actually with our captain Jeremy Williams, so to be able to share it with him and guys like Tom Robertson and a few other close mates like Harry Potter on the tour, it was really nice.
Oh, mate, that's brilliant. It's been such a cool year, but we will chat Force in 2026. We saw earlier this week you've been announced as vice captain, and in the presser you specifically talk about a defensive role that you're taking on. Does that mean that you just going out of the line and smashing blokes, or are you actually like building the systems? What does that defensive role look like for you?
Yeah, I do like both of them. So, I think in terms of that's probably where my strengths are based, and probably around the forward play. It does include, I will speak a lot about sort of the forwards attack, using our skills and also our breakdown. But, if I can speak about the sort of systems we're trying to create here and how we want to be really strong in that defensive area, it will sort of help align us. But, we've got Ben Donaldson who will sort of predominantly run the attack for the team, but if there is anything around the sort of forwards carrying or the breakdown, I'm able to touch on that as well. But, I think it's nice that all three of us are together and we all sort of have different styles and different aspects of our game. We can all lean on each other and hopefully contribute to the end goal.
It's part and parcel for a six. It just seems like the perfect kind of role that you've built for yourself. So well done there. But when I look at this Force pack in particular, we're sort of going over the squads later last week and a bit into this to do a preview. And I thought everyone in this pack just looks bigger and seems bigger. And it's a really physical profile that you've built heading into 2026. How fucked has preseason been with that back row unit in particular? Because you've got a bunch of blokes that are just unreal, particularly around the clean.
Yeah, I think it's been great to be able to come back in and see the competition and see the drive and the hard work everyone's put in. Like we've had a new S&C come in and his name's Killer, so to sort of go with the name, it's been bloody
Jesus.
tough. We're working hard in the gym and on that repeatability, and then we go out on field and we're being pushed really hard in that contact and that skill area under Cronny. So steel sharpens steel. So we've been going hammer and tongs at each other, and it's been great to sort of build those sort of combinations and rivalry, but all been trying to achieve the same goal.
Who are the blokes that you don't want to get paired with, that kind of stuff, like wrestle, strip for ball? Like who are you dodging eye contact with?
I unfortunately still look for them. So I've been trying to look for Carlo a fair bit as well, and Valeni Ekwasi. So I sort of sit and find those two a fair bit and get to lock my horns with them because, I think it's a classic sort of saying is you want to compete against the best to make yourself better. So, no, it's been great. Like we've got such a good, strong group of guys, and we all sort of have different skills as well, like different parts of our bow, which we can add to the team. So you've got guys like Will Harris, who's super athletic, great down the edge, great in the line out. Guys like Lenny who love carrying the ball really hard, love cleaning out, love tackling and low chopping. And then you got Carlo, who sort of is a bit of a pit bull and gets around everywhere. So no, it's a really strong group.
You mentioned something in there around the line out, and that's something I was keen to chat with you about, because when you look back at the Forces 2025, you had the best operating defensive line out in the world, like global competitions. How does that come about? Because you're pinching balls at will, and it didn't look like anyone can get a read of you. We're not looking for trade secrets, but like what in particular goes into building a good defensive line out?
I think we train it pretty hard, and we've got some, great line-out operators like Jeremy Williams. He'd probably be one of the best defensive line-out operators in Australia, and then Darcy Swain as well. So I think we sort of created a culture around our line-out, especially last year, like our mauling and our attack and defence, that we really want to build throughout the week, and I think it really translated into performance on the weekend. Like even the guys in the non-23 that prepared the opposition's line-outs to world-class standards, so would be able to be best prepared to come to the weekend and, hopefully take some ball.
So we're heading into trial season, but there's a lot of eyes will be on that round one game against the Brumbies. Really good competition between you teams last year. How excited to have a couple of home games, and particularly a derby, to get going in 26?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone loves the Australian derbies, and everyone's sort of competing, and you have that personal connection with a lot of the guys. Like I've been messaging Alan Alatoa and, been having a bit of banter back and forth. I'm pretty sure he's too frightened to come out here for round one. So
the back's fine.
Yeah. So he's just hiding away at home. He doesn't want to meet me up here. So, I think we're super excited. It's going to be great. And hopefully we see James Slipper on a flight coming out here as well. So, but I think as a group, we're super excited. Like we put a lot of hard work into this pre-season, and I think we fell short of where we wanted to go last year. Like we had some great games, some great performances. We just missed the mark on a few times, which sort of hurt us towards the back end. But we want to push deep into finals this year.
That sentiment was shared by Mac and Kurtley and all the boys have been on so far. What needs to change? Because you say you're just missing the mark, but in your view, both on and off the field when you're watching these games, what was it that you were lacking in 25 that you really want to address this year?
I think it was like execution and pressure moments. There was a few games there where ahead at the 70-minute mark or 75th minute mark or even 85th minute mark, we're just not able to seal it. And that really hurts us. If you looked at the ladder last year, if you win 2 out of those 4 games, which was so close, you're top 6. So I think we're sort of pushing our internal stands, our internal competition between the squad to drive those sort of expectations that, we're going to be able to perform under pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't forgiven Darby for that one. I hope you got him first session back for that. The environment in Perth rugby at the moment is really interesting from an outsider's perspective, because you've got an NRL team that's coming in the next couple of years, but in the same token, there's more test match footy being played in Perth. There's more eyes on the Force. What's the environment like around the club for starters, but also your engagement with the Perth and the broader WA community? What's being done to really entrench rugby, further entrench it over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's awesome to see as many test matches as we can up at Optus. As you saw this year against the All Blacks, Optus gets absolutely sold out. We had that experience. We versus the Lions there, and to see, we call them the Sea of Blue, our fan base, that they're super loyal. They've been around through thick and thin when the Western Force were out of the competition and supported us all the way through. And, I think for us as players, we'd like to, appreciate them by getting the results on the field and going deep into finals. I think that will show our appreciation. But, we've got our fan day this weekend. It's going to be great to sort of connect with them. And then, we've got a lot of players who are allocated to different Perth clubs, and we try to get out to as many training sessions as we can to sort of meet the local guys, help out where we can, and, connect with the community, because it's super important for us up here.
But you've been really generous with your time, so I'll just leave you with a quick one. I was asking Mac before about the RG boys coming in, so I want to check on your Spanish and also how they've been integrated into the team, because they sound like a really likeable bunch of blokes.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I actually speak French to them because after
from
playing
top
in France,
14, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them have played over there, so I've decided we'll just speak French rather than their native tongue of Spanish. But they've integrated in really well. They're, Frankie, I call him Franco. He's already, he's a master at the line and around the field. He speaks great English. And Lionel, the hooker, I wouldn't say his English is top notch. Sometimes you have to nod to him at line out when you want the ball, but he's great. He's integrating in the team. And then you've got Gus, the halfback, full of energy and that argy fire around the field. So that's great to have these sort of different guys here. And I think at the Force, we love diversity and love having different people from different backgrounds and welcoming them into our family.
The French thing just reminded me. We saw Tommy Staniforth get picked up for the French team. How much have you had to do with him through sort of New South Wales rugby and also being on the other side of a couple of times with him in top 14? Was he around your club or was he at Cast?
So we're at the same club.
He was
at
Cast.
We were both at Cast together. So we're both at Cast, and funnily enough, me and Tom grew up together. So it was it was sort of a bizarre thing. We sort of grew up. We went to the same school since we were 6, and we were sort of mates throughout school because he was a few years above me, but sort of mentored me coming through. And then I moved over to France, and I lived with him for the first 2 months. And I call him my second dad. He sort of mentors me through life and whatnot. But I was on the blower to him last week when he found out, and it's just incredible and a testament to his sort of hard work and dedication. Like, he's been performing unbelievably over there for the last few years, and to be rewarded with his first season being eligible for French team to be named in the Six Nations it's just great.
That must be awesome to see you, mate. And also the best mullet in Le Blues by far. So looking forward to seeing him have a good crack. Hey, Crep, thank you so much for your time, mate. Go well in 26. All the best.
No worries. Thanks very much, mate.
Ben Donaldson, thank you for jumping on. I know you've had plenty of commitments, so a serious one to get you started. As vice captain, have you considered asking Twiggy for a private force jet?
No, I haven't, but I should. I think I might email him or try to take him for a coffee and try to snag something out of him because I know Jeremy tries to get a fair bit out of his captaincy role.
Okay.
I might follow suit and try to get something out of it.
Who would you trust as team pilot?
Ooh, probably Tom Robertson. He's pretty switched on, big throbber. He's pretty switched on. I feel like he'd know how to get around a plane.
Man of many talents, Doctor Pilot extraordinaire. It's a hell of a group. We had some good yarns before with Mac and Kurtley on identifying a couple of serial pests in the team as well. Nick Dolly's a name that kept coming up. Who are you trying to dodge in those kinds of sort of plane environments or blokes you want to steer clear of?
Yeah, Dolly's definitely one. He doesn't really have much etiquette around personal space, personal hygiene. His elbows will be out. He'd be smelling. He'd be dropping food. Definitely him. And then probably Mac as well. Mac's one. He doesn't shut up. He probably wouldn't put headphones on. He'd be talking. He'd be chirping. He'd be dribbling a lot. So they're probably definitely two of the worst.
It just feels like a good knit group. Like everyone has a good gas, has a good yarn. But you've been here for a couple of years in the Force environment. Tell us what it's like and how different it is to maybe playing footy sort of in the Sydney bubble on the East Coast, because you sort of make your family across the other side of the Nullarbor. Yeah,
it's obviously very different over here. Like, not many boys are from Perth. So we kind of do more together. It's a very tight-knit group, as you say. Like, we're doing a lot together off the field. Spend most of our time in here anyway. We get that bond with the group, I think, which helps on the field. Compared to others, when you're in Sydney, everyone's kind of from Sydney, so you got schoolmates and family and whatnot. So I think it's a bit different over here in terms of that. And it's a good group. We take the piss out of each other, but we love each other at the same time. So it's good fun.
Kurtley just before said that there's a bit of a gin rummy thing that goes on, at least did last year, and apparently Darcy owes you a tattoo, or the rest of the team. But we need a bit more details on that. Is that just for being shit at cards?
Yeah, we play a lot of gin, especially on our away tours. So we're away a bit, and good group of us who play gin rummy, and it's always for punishment. It's never just for fun. It's always for something, and those punishments tend to get worse very quick as well. So. That's probably one of the worst ones we've had was a tattoo last year. in Fiji. I think it's Buller. Someone had to get Buller on the back of there.
No.
And yeah, poor Swaney lost that one, and he's still yet to get it. So we're gonna have to get him into a tattoo parlor, I think, and get that one on him.
Cash in before he heads over to France. Otherwise, he'll run off without it.
I know, exactly right.
Oh, no, it sounds like a good career, and it sounds like you've really settled in there as well now. You've had a couple of years over in the force. You've played a lot, particularly at 10 last year, really nailing that down. How comfortable are you feeling as a leader? Because it's formal now as a vice captain, but it's kind of part of the parcel of playing 10 anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. I think I'm not going to try to do anything different. Just because I'm vice captain, like you said, as a number 10, you kind of lead anyway. You're leading the meetings. You're discussing the field map, what plays you're going to be running. You're the one calling the shots on the field and stuff like that. So I'll just kind of keep leading in the way I do in that department. And if Jezza and Crep and the other leaders need anything else along the way, I'll be there to help. But yeah, as you said, number 10's lead anyway. So I'll keep doing that, driving the attack and that kind of stuff. And yeah, if the boys need anything else, I'll be there ready to go.
You must be so keen to get back out there this year, because from a fan's perspective, looking back in last year was a bit of a yo-yo. Like, you're coming off game 3 of the Lions, closing out a really important test, and then the injury before South Africa kind of derails it. How was that period for you, and how do you sort of steel yourself to go again after what's probably a bit of a disappointing finish?
Yeah, it was obviously a weird year. Frustrating, inconsistent. At the Force, we'd have some great games and then some pretty low games. So it was very up and down. And then, like you said, to go into the Lion series and be picked in all 3 games, like, that was a career high for me. That's something you dream of as a kid. And then to win that last game in Sydney, where I grew up, was pretty cool. So yeah, I was on top of the world, and then over to South Africa, keen to play my first game over there, and unfortunately get injured again, which is part of sport. You just got to take that as it comes. And then seeing that result that happened that weekend made things tough. Especially being back in Sydney, had to fly back. So yeah, that was tough. And then yeah, from that moment on, obviously was in rehab, couldn't quite get back into the squad, which was very disappointing. Obviously, being in the squad for those Lions series, I thought obviously I didn't play my best footy, but I thought maybe I'd be around the mark. But again, that's pro sport. Coaches have their thoughts, and that's fine. I had some great feedback, and yeah, just went along with that feedback. And I think that time actually refreshed me. I had some good time off, and then came back to Perth for a bit, played Super AU, played Aussie A, which was a great week. And yeah, felt really refreshed after that. And yeah, now I'm feeling good, fit and strong. And like you said, I'm really excited for another year and to get to rip in.
What kind of feedback do you actually get at that point? Because we see from the spectators that you're available for selection, you're playing Aussie A, but are the Aussie coaches saying it's injury related? Is it specifics that they're giving you to work on? Like, what kind of communication do you get at that point?
Yeah, there was a few specifics. Kind of after my injury, the main one was that they were just happy with the guys they had in the squad. They were happy with Tane. They were happy with Tom Liner. Obviously, Carter was kind of coming back into the mix. So they kind of said there was no real need to bring me back in because they were happy and they just wanted continuity. And I understand that sometimes in pro sport, continuity is a big thing, combinations. It helps at that high level. So that was one thing. And then the other thing was just a few work-ons, around my contact game, defense, consistency. Joe's kind of let all of us tens know that no one's really locked down that position still as of yet. He needs someone to be really consistent and really take hold of that jersey. So that was the main kind of feedback. And yeah, then went off to play Aussie A. Had a good win there, good week with the boys. And yeah, then kind of back into pre-season, which was good. So yeah, feeling fit and strong, and hopefully can put my best foot forward this year.
And good to get some time just even being involved a bit, but seeing the Super Rugby Oz program come through. We've already straight into trials. There's been a lot of footy that's played across this period, and usually that's not the case. How does the backline in particular, where you're a leader, how is that feeling at the moment? Because there are so many players and so much depth in the Force. We probably haven't seen this level of depth in the Force backline for a couple of years, at least from an outsider's perspective, because you've got 3 or 4 that can start really from what we're seeing. So how do you see it as an internal leader?
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. We kind of this year we've spoken a lot about our depth, and we've got great depth in all positions, and also key positions like locks, hookers, nines, tens, 15s. We've got boys who could easily start, which is great. Like it drives great training standards. Boys are pushing each other. You wouldn't really know who the starting team is out at training, which is probably something that we've been missing in the past few years. So yeah, in terms of that, like it's great. Boys know that we've got an end goal, and boys know that whatever the team is selected for round one, boys will be pushing to get into that, and then the rest of the boys will be doing their best to prepare the team. So I think we're going to pride ourselves on having a great starting 15, but then also having the best finishers in the comp, which I think we can do because we've got some boys who'll probably be, quite disappointed to not be starting, who probably could be starting. But then when they come on off the bench, I think the crowds will see some boys coming on and really lighten up some games late in the games.
You've spoken in the past, Dono, around the influence of KB on your game and coming in and helping as a second playmaker and a mentor, but you've got even more sort of international experience now with someone like George Bridge coming across. We haven't heard too much about what he brings, particularly in the new role that we've seen as a centre. So can you tell us a bit about Bridgie and how he's been since coming in?
Yeah, Bridge has been awesome. Obviously, he's very experienced. He's played a lot of rugby in New Zealand for Crusaders and the All Blacks. He's played in France. He's done a lot in the game already, and you can tell that he's very experienced. He's very smart around the way he defends. Obviously, 13 is a bit of a new position for him, but he's been awesome the whole preseason. Last week in the trial game, he was very good. He's just very smart. Like you can tell he's played a lot of rugby on the wing and at fullback. The way he kind of pops up inside and outside 10s and 9s. He swings really well out the back of shapes. And in defence, like I said, he reads the game really well. So I think those smarts is probably the biggest thing that I've picked up on. He drives the team well. He's very smart, and he's just an all-round great fella as well. He's blended into the group really well. Loves hanging out with the boys. Loves getting out and doing stuff, and loves a laugh as well. So I think he's molded into the group really well so far.
And how about one of the new blokes inside you, Augustine Moyano? From what I've heard from some of the other boys, he's got a fair bit of chip too. It's like having a Spanish whitey.
It is exactly right. He doesn't have much English, but he's whatever he's saying, he's always energetic, and he brings a good vibe to the group. He's added a lot of spark so far. He's obviously, you've seen what he can do with the RGs. He's fast around the field. He's got a great skill set, and he's only young, so he's got plenty of energy. I think a few of us might have to brush up on our Spanish so we can communicate with him on the field a little bit better.
Oh, part and parcel, your international team.
Yeah.
I won't keep you for too long. You've been very generous with your time, but I'd love to finish on your ambition for this team. Having been there for a couple of years now, with the depth of the squad that you've seen build over the past couple of years and some continuity, as you mentioned, in key positions. Are you setting yourself a ceiling with regards to, trophies, finals, or is it a style of play that you want to improve? I'd love to get your gauge on where you can see this team going.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like obviously internally we believe that, or we want to win the comp. Like that's our end vision, that's our end goal. Personally, I don't think if you chase just for a finals, just to make the finals, you're going to cut yourself short somewhere along the way. So I think having that end vision of the top is a great thing for us, and we internally believe it. Like you said, we've got a lot of great depth this year. Really good coaching staff. We've added some great coaches, new head of performance. Everyone's working really well aligned, and the boys have been ripping in, working really hard. I personally believe that we can go all the way this year. Obviously need a bit of luck with injuries and whatnot, so hopefully we can have some of that along the way as well. And in terms of the style of play, nothing too much has really changed. Like we obviously pride ourselves on playing with pace, using the skill, using the ball. We're quite lucky over here with the weather. We get a lot of afternoon games, so it suits our style. It suits a lot of the players we have. If we can do that and get off to a good start, I think we'll be in for a good year.
Yeah, I heard a bit about Killer before from one of the other boys. It sounds like you've had a nasty pre-season. So
mate, he's ruthless.
I'm looking forward to seeing the results up. Dono, thanks again, mate. Go well in 2026 and appreciate your time.
Not too easy. Thanks for that, Lachie. Good man.
We're not going to France for the croissants.